Peace be with you. Dear friends, welcome to Living Flame podcast website and Facebook group. Gospel reflections for Saturday in the first week in the ordinary time. Gospel according to Mark chapter 2 verses 13 to 17. Jesus went out beside the sea. The whole crowd gathered around him and he taught them. Simple approach by Jesus. Jesus was among the people. He went out again by the sea. Multitude resorted unto him, and he taught them. Jesus is found among the people of Capernaum. His approach, he always went out again. He could have been comfortably in the house. He followed a pattern. He was busy. He found so many people at the seaside. You can just imagine people maybe buying and selling things or having a walk, and fishermen, people trying to see, look at the fish and so on. He could have easily relaxed, stayed at home, and the people would have come to him. But he decided to get out among the people. He was not content to sit and wait. Jesus went out in pursuit of people. This approach is so simple, and yet the modern church has lost sight of its importance. We assume everyone knows where the church building is located. We advertise our services, the timings of our celebrations, and people know they are welcome. Sadly, we are content to sit and wait on them to come to us instead of going into the highways and hedges, compelling them to come in. And all the multitude resorted unto him, and he taught them. This was quickly becoming a normal routine. As people heard of Jesus being by the sea, they came to where he was. And the people gathered. Jesus immediately began to teach them. That was his purpose for being there. He desired to reach them with the gospel. He did not neglect them, but took time to minister unto them. And as he passed by, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the reception of custom, and said unto him, Follow me. And he rose and followed him. Here we find Jesus among one despised by society. What was his occupation? His occupation was to collect taxes. He was a tax collector. Jesus' encounter with Levi, who is also known as Matthew, sitting at the receipt of customs. Matthew was a Jewish man who was employed by the Roman authorities. He was simply a tax collector. The Romans had placed taxes on various goods, and the Jews were forced to pay. Often these men would increase the taxes, taking advantage of the people for their own profit. Needless to say, most Jews had little use for one who was sympathetic to the Romans while taking advantage of their own countrymen. And he passed by, he saw Levi, he invited him, and Levi immediately left everything and followed Jesus. What do we find, dear friends, here? The immediate reaction on the part of Levi, who was thirsting for something. Most probably he was bored of his business, bored of his work. This was an opportunity offered to Matthew. And he looks at the opportunity, and perhaps he says to himself, This is the man I need to follow. So you can just imagine he is leaving his task, his money, and his job, and his employment, his work, his people around. He just walks behind Jesus. Well, then Matthew does something extraordinary. Jesus and the disciples had been invited to share a meal with Matthew and his friends after his agreement to follow Christ. Possibly this was a farewell party among friends, as Matthew would be leaving town to serve in ministry with Jesus. Matthew probably was very excited about the relationship with Jesus and wanted to introduce him to his friends. Dear friends, experiencing Christ in a real personal way brings about transformation. And this should be our task today. Encountering Christ, listening to his voice, following him will bring us real, true, authentic joy. God bless you.